A Texas reckoning, my land, my bulls, and the HOA that pushed too far. In Texas, we don't call it revenge. We call it settling things the rancher's way. When the HOA tried to steal the Lakeside retreat my family had guarded for 3 generations, they didn't just cross a line, they trampled it. I didn't waste time with lawyers or fancy arguments. I opened the gate, gave my lead bull a nod, and watched as 27 Longhorns turned their pristine lawn into a muddy testament to justice. As the HOA board screamed and the turf flew, I sipped my coffee, knowing this was about more than a property dispute. It was about what happens when someone mistakes a Texan for a pushover. This is my story, and it's one you won't forget. My name is Hank Caldwell, and at 52, I've spent my life working the 47 acres of lakeside land my great-grandfather staked out in 1923. It's not just dirt and grass, it's the sweat, tears, and dreams of 3 generations woven into every fence post and dock plank. My wife, Clara, passed from cancer 4 years ago, leaving me to raise our 17-year-old son, Ethan, alone. Ethan's got his grandfather's knack for fixing things and my stubborn streak, which is why we were out by the lake one crisp October morning, replacing rotted boards on the dock, when trouble rolled up our dirt road. The rumble of engines broke the quiet 3 black SUVs, sleek and out of place on our gravel drive. A woman stepped out of the lead vehicle, her white suit glaring in the sunlight. She introduced herself as Eleanor Prescott Hayes, chairwoman of the Cedar Grove Homeowners Association. Flanked by 2 assistants with clipboards and a reluctant Sheriff Dan Mitchell, she marched toward us, heels clicking like a countdown. "Mr. Caldwell," she said, her voice sharp as a blade, "your property is in violation of community standards and environmental regulations. We're here to address it." I set down my hammer, feeling my pulse quicken. "Ma'am, this land's been in my family for a century. We're not part of any HOA, and we don't answer to one." Her smile was cold, like she'd heard it all before. She claimed a recent survey showed 15 acres of my land, including the dock, fell under Cedar Grove's jurisdiction, established in 2019. Her assistant, a nervous young woman named Sophie, handed me a folder with a survey and a lawsuit demanding $2.3 million for environmental damage and illegal land use. The number hit like a sledgehammer, more than my land was worth, more than I'd see in a lifetime. Eleanor's eyes lingered on the lake, and for a split second, I saw something raw, almost haunted, in her expression. "This is about safety, Mr. Caldwell," she said, her voice catching. "About preventing tragedies." Sheriff Mitchell, looking like he'd rather be anywhere else, confirmed the paperwork was legal. I had 30 days to respond. As they drove off, Ethan looked at me, confused. "Dad, what just happened?" I didn't have an answer, but I knew this wasn't about property lines. Eleanor was fighting a war, and my land was her battlefield. The next morning, Ethan was already digging. He's got a tech-savvy streak, and by breakfast, he'd found a news article from 8 years back. Local boy drowns in lake tragedy. 9-year-old Jamie Hayes, Eleanor's son, had drowned in our lake during a camping trip. The article mentioned a rancher who tried to save him but arrived too late. That rancher was me. I'd never forget that day diving into the water, pulling Jamie's lifeless body to shore, his mother's screams echoing as I tried CPR. Ethan's eyes widened as I told him. "She blames you," he said. "This isn't about the HOA. It's personal." Eleanor's campaign hit fast and hard. A local reporter, Grace Turner, published a story painting me as a reckless polluter, complete with photos of dead fish and rusty equipment, none of it from my land. A Facebook page, Stop Polluter Caldwell, popped up overnight, racking up thousands of followers with slick graphics and fake testimonials. My phone buzzed with angry voicemails. Someone dumped trash on my lawn with a note, "Clean up your mess." The internet mob didn't care about the truth, and I realized Eleanor had hired professionals to destroy me. I fought back the only way I knew how, with transparency. I put up a sign, "Open farm tours. See for yourself." Families came, expecting a toxic wasteland, but found clean water and healthy cattle. Mrs. Larson, a neighbor, admitted, "This isn't what the articles said. Your lake's clearer than my pool." Ethan, meanwhile, traced the fake photos to a chemical spill in Alabama and an abandoned factory 60 miles away. We had proof of fraud, but Eleanor wasn't done. One night, my security cameras caught 2 figures burying containers near the lake. I didn't call the sheriff yet. The next morning, Sheriff Mitchell arrived with EPA investigators who discovered industrial solvents buried exactly where the figures had been. I was arrested for environmental crimes, handcuffed in front of news cameras, and slapped with a $50,000 bail I couldn't afford. As they led me away, I saw Eleanor's assistant, Sophie, watching from the crowd, her face pale. While I sat in jail, Sophie made a choice. She'd recorded Eleanor instructing someone to plant the chemicals, specifying where and how deep. "Make it look like he's been dumping for years," Eleanor's voice said. Sophie gave the recording to Grace Turner, who'd realized she'd been fed lies. The evidence was damning. Within hours, I was released, and arrest warrants were issued for Eleanor and her accomplices. Sheriff Mitchell handed me back my hat. "Hank, we got played. I'm sorry." But Eleanor wasn't finished. That night, my security system went haywire. Someone was inside my office. Papers were strewn everywhere, my safe emptied. The original deed from 1923, my grandfather's will, every document proving my ownership was gone. Outside, I found Eleanor on a bulldozer, smashing the stone markers that defined my property's boundaries. "You let my son die," she screamed, her voice breaking. "You get to live here like nothing happened." I shouted for her to stop, but her eyes were wild, unhinged. She climbed down, tears streaming. "I was on a call," she sobbed. 5 minutes, and Jamie was gone. "I blamed you because I couldn't face that it was my fault." The truth spilled out. She'd left Jamie alone by the lake, distracted by work. I tried to save him, but no one could have. As Sheriff Mitchell arrived, Eleanor collapsed, confessing everything: the theft, the chemicals, the lies. "I'm sorry," she whispered as they cuffed her. For the first time, I believed her. 3 weeks later, the legal storm was calming. My friend Judge Amos Harper had kept copies of my documents in a safe deposit box, saving my claim. Eleanor was in jail, facing felony charges. But I wasn't done. The Cedar Grove HOA had tried to ruin me, and they needed a lesson they'd never forget. Their headquarters sat on 2 acres of manicured lawn, a symbol of their arrogance. I loaded my 27 Longhorn bulls into trailers and drove to their Tuesday board meeting. I opened the gates, patted my lead bull, Brutus, and said, "Show him what you think of their grass." The bulls charged, turning the lawn into a churned-up pasture. Board members ran out, screaming as Brutus rolled in their prized sod. Mrs. Carter, the new HOA president, called the police, but Sheriff Mitchell just laughed. "Hank, this is the most Texas thing I've ever seen." The bulls trotted back to the trailers, leaving a viral video that spread like wildfire. The HOA tried to sue, but cattle on grass isn't a crime, and their case fell apart. 3 days later, Sophie called. The HOA had dissolved, crushed by lawsuits, bad press, and public outrage. A new community council, led by Sophie, took over, promising fairness over tyranny. 6 months later, I got a letter from Eleanor, now in a minimum security facility. "I'm getting help," she wrote. "When I'm out, may I visit Jamie's grave? I need to say goodbye." I wrote back, saying she'd be welcome. Sometimes, the best justice isn't destruction, it's giving someone a chance to heal. Today, my campground thrives, packed with families enjoying the lake's peace. In the morning light, I think of Jamie and how even the darkest pain can lead to redemption. This wasn't just a fight for land, it was a lesson in standing tall, forgiving, and letting the land settle things its way. What do you think? Have you ever faced injustice that pushed you to the edge? Was violence the answer, or did you find another way? Share your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your stand. Subscribe and hit the bell for more stories of real people facing real battles, because justice comes in many forms, and sometimes it's delivered by 27 bulls and a stubborn Texan heart.